Children are a blessing that should be cherished, but equally they can be at the forefront of negotiations in the event of parents splitting up. They can become bargaining chips and lead many parents to feel that there is a level of unfairness to their access to their children. In a world where we always hear of deadbeat dads that have no interest in being involved in the lives of their children, you would think that some parents would be glad to have an ex that wants to co-parent and share the load, as it were. But sometimes child custody actually becomes a motive for murder. Even so, it's very rare to see someone taken out in broad daylight. In today's case, that's exactly what happens. And it is the nature of the murder, and indeed the victim's occupation, that led to a massive public outcry, which in turn led to a media circus surrounding the case. In this case, the victim was a postman just going about his rounds. This is the murder of Jason Schaefer, and this is Murder of Crows. In the recent case I covered of Deborah DePinto, we travelled to Boulder in Colorado on the outskirts of Denver. And it's to this locale that we go once again for this tragic tale. Just to the northeast of Boulder is the community of Longmont. Founded in 1871, it was developed by a group of people from Chicago, and it was initially developed as the Chicago, Colorado colony. And after the arrival of the Colorado Central Railroad coming up to the area from Boulder in 1878, the area flourished as an agricultural community. In the year of its founding in 1871, it became home to Colorado's first library. In a brief but dark period of its history, control of Longmont was in the hands of the Ku Klux Klan, after they gained control of Longmont's city council in an election, following which they marched up and down Main Street in their costumes. In the 1927 election, they were voted out of office and their influence soon declined. Work on Chimney Rock Dam, a project started by the Klan Council, was abandoned as unfeasible, and as I said, their influence in the region soon diminished. As time went on and the town continued to grow, the downtown region of Longmont along Main Street declined to the point of being nearly dead during the 1980s, but the area underwent a revival in the 1990s and into the 21st century. And during the mid-1990s, the southern edge of Longmont became the location of the first new urbanist project in Colorado, called Prospect New Town, designed by the architects Andre Duany and Elizabeth Plater Zyberg. And it's to the community of Longmont that we go in 2021 for the main aspect of our story today. Our story really starts in the early 2010s, when postal workers Jason Schaefer and Devon Schreiner met while both were working for the U.S. Postal Service in Colorado. Now the two hit it off and were pretty quickly in a relationship. The two were keen to start a family, so when Devon became pregnant in 2014, they were thrilled. Jason's mother, Laurie Hebert, said of this time in her son's life, "Jason wanted a family, so when Devon got pregnant, he was very happy, and we were happy for them." But Laurie noticed a change after their son was born in 2015. And it wasn't a change that Jason was especially pleased about, with Laurie saying their values were not the same. She did not want to work. She felt she didn't have to work being a mother, but you need 2 paychecks. Their relationship started to deteriorate, and they broke up. Jason tried to get along and co-parent together, and that wasn't working very well. So Jason wound up getting a lawyer to set up a parenting plan. And this would turn out to be the first in a series of incidents that led Devon Schreiner to grow increasingly angry at Jason Schaefer. After Jason had asserted his rights to be a dad to his son, a whole new level of freaky happened when he started dating a woman called Rosa, who ended up moving in with him. But Rosa was Devon Schreiner's younger sister. Now by this time Devon herself was seeing a man called Andrew A.J. Ritchie, but the fact that Jason was now with her younger sister still rankled. And it was a scenario that Jason's mother, Laurie, warned him about, with her recalling a conversation with her son. saying, "Jason mentioned that his girlfriend Rosa was living with him. I didn't think it was a good idea because Rosa was Devon's younger sister. I told Jason, you've opened up a bad can of worms here." The ill feeling that Devon Schreiner held towards Jason festered and fermented over the next few years, until in 2021 two further events seemed to break the camel's back. At the end of September, Devon was fired from the Longmont post office and moved to other duties, and the reason given was her ongoing dispute with Jason Schaefer. And then in October of 2021, Jason filed a motion in court to have greater custody of his son. If all of these things together made Devon Schreiner's mind up to act, there were other factors in play. It seemed that Jason's relationship with Devon's sister Rosa was becoming toxic and unhealthy. Whether this had anything to do with Devon is not actually known, but it led to Jason becoming more withdrawn and becoming distant from friends and family in the October of 2021. This emotional distress did not seem to affect his work though, as he was a very popular mailman on his routes in Longmont. And that's why people were shocked and stunned by the shooting of the friendly and helpful mailman in broad daylight on October the 13th, 2021.
Schaefer was pronounced dead on scene.
We are following breaking news right now on CBSN Denver. Longmont police say a post office worker was killed in a shooting this afternoon. Happened in front of neighborhood mailboxes around 12:30 at Heather Hill Street and Renaissance Drive. Police are looking for a male suspect. 5 St. Vrain schools were put on a secure status out of an abundance of caution that has since been lifted.
But it's important to look at how the police went from the shocking death of a community stalwart to focusing on the ex-partner of the stricken mailman. On the 13th of October 2021 in Longmont, witnesses heard 5 gunshots pierce the air at lunchtime, and several people ran out of their Longmont homes to find their mail carrier, 33-year-old Jason Schaefer, laying in a pool of blood next to their mailboxes and his mail truck. He'd been shot at close range as he tried to deliver letters. Witnesses identified a subject fleeing the area south on Renaissance Drive. The suspect was wearing dark clothing, a hoodie, and a blue mask, driving a black Nissan Rogue. And it would be the Nissan Rogue, also seen in surveillance footage, that would be central to the initial police inquiries. Residents in the neighbourhood were devastated at the shooting of their friendly postman. Mia Van Leeuwen, who lived in the area, said, "You wouldn't expect your mailman would be hurt or that something would happen to him. This is a pretty nice neighbourhood, so it's just weird that it was right there in broad daylight too." Jason Schaefer was maybe someone they didn't know by his full name, but neighbours knew him by his smile. Tom Lawson, the president of the local homeowners association, said that Schaefer was so friendly that sometimes he'd go out of his way to help some of the residents, with Lawson saying he would come here right around 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. He'd be here for around 20 minutes, starting all these boxes with all the mail. He was always friendly. He hand-delivered mail directly to some of the houses because they, referring to the residents, weren't capable of getting to the mailbox. So we are all very devastated. Another resident, Natalie Fontenot, said he was just a young dude who seemed to be living a pretty normal life. Back with the police investigation, upon looking into Jason's life and his ongoing feud with Devon Schreiner, they found that Andrew A.J. Ritchie, who was Devon's boyfriend, they found that he drove a black Nissan Rogue. Oh, blimey. This was enough to mark Ritchie out for special attention. When Jason's movements were looked at for the preceding few days, and Ritchie's phone location data were analysed, it became clear that Jason was being trailed by the Nissan Rogue, and phone data indicated that Ritchie was the driver. When he was brought in for questioning and challenged, he tried to claim that he was trying to protect Jason. But rather, the police suspected that he was the eyes and ears for the furious girlfriend who wanted to make Jason Schaefer pay for what she believed he had done to her.
Do you have any weapons on you, any knives? Nothing like that? Okay. So, first off, it doesn't even matter the reason we're here, just the circumstances, the fact that we're at your place of work. I don't want you to feel like you're being coerced into talking to us, all right? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to read you Miranda real quick, all right? Just to go through that. Do what?
Am I being arrested?
Right now? No.
Okay.
All right? All right, you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand your rights as I've just read them? Okay? Having these rights in mind, all right, are you okay with me asking you some questions about some stuff that went on here this last week or so with Devon?
You can ask me questions while I'm planning to find my answer from stuff.
Okay, all right. You want to start?
Yeah, so when I
Oh, actually, sorry. Let me sign this quick. Just saying that I told this to you. And... All right, so go ahead and this right here, just saying that you understand. Let me get a signature from right there. All right, I appreciate it. So this is her car on a license plate reader back
That's
in
her
May.
car. That's her car. That's her car.
This is down at the scene, the neighborhood of the shooting. You can see the time, 12:06.
That's her car.
So originally you told us that she was up there at your house with you until 12:15 when you left to go to Hooters. So can you explain that? We're trying to verify Devin's timeline right now. That's the thing.
Yeah. She was not with me. She wasn't with me before that. She came over to my house after I was done with Hooters for about 10 minutes.
For about 10 minutes. What happened when she got there?
She just stopped, used the bathroom, got some water.
Did she leave anything?
No,
Nothing at all?
no, not unless it was in the bathroom.
Did she change clothes?
No, she was.
Do you remember what she was wearing?
Not specifically. I think I told you that night. It was like a pair of pants and a t-shirt. No.
Okay,
I think the pants were dark, but I don't remember what the t-shirt was.
okay. So let's kind of work the timeline. Understand this is why I put the timeline together.
I know.
And so we've got her vehicle in Long Lawn when she said she was with you. So you guys weren't together. So tell me kind of what happened. Let's go back and talk about the morning and how that all worked. You told me before you got home about 8 o'clock. Is that right?
At 8 o'clock
In the morning.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. Where were you coming from?
Her house.
Her house. So you weren't at work. Okay. So you were at Devin's house in the morning. What time did you leave her house?
7 something.
Okay.
She went to work. I went to my house.
So she went to work and you went home. But your wife had already been gone, or did your wife see you?
My wife was taking the kids to school because she has to be to work at 8.
So she was already gone. Okay.
Do you have any idea what that picture is right there?
Looks like GPS.
So those are phone signals coming from your phone down in the Longmont area in the same neighborhood as the shooting with location information for the mailman who was shot that morning. All right. So we know that you were in Longmont that morning, and I'm not asking that because of you. I'm just asking that to further verify whether or not you had any idea where Devin was at that time. You've already told me that you weren't with Devin at 12:15 like you had previously told us. All right. So the reason I'm showing you this is because we can show that you weren't with Devin, and you can't obviously verify where she was.
Right. What else did you want to show me?
You got nothing to say about this? That's off your phone. 2 days before this happened. Can you explain that? You're a smart guy. I think you know where we're going with this.
Yeah.
So if you want to give us answers, now's the time to give them to us. These investigations move fast. You know that. We get this data fast. You only get a couple opportunities to give us explanations for what's going on. We're trying to find the truth.
So her and I were talking in the morning when I dropped her off at my house, and I didn't necessarily think too much of it. I thought that we were going to fool around after she got off, and because we'd done that in the past. After she had gotten to work, or on her way to work, she had called me and told me that she had decided that that was what she thought needed to happen. And she had told me that she had thought about doing this before. Actually, 3 days prior to that, she told me that she was going to do this, and I talked her out of it. So, at that night, she was going to do it at his apartment in the middle of the night. I talked her out of it. I had to go over there and do it face to face. But she didn't do it that night. This morning she told me that she was going to do it. She told me that she had already had everything that she needed to make it happen, and I tried to talk her out of it. Then she went to work and told me that there was no talking her out of it. So after talking to her, and she's mentioned it in the past, and she has talked about his route because she knows the Longmont routes. So I went out there, I knew his route number, I found him, and I continued to stay on the phone with her to try to tell her, to try to talk her out of it. But I thought that she was going to go there a lot earlier than that. I thought that if I would see her, I could stop her. She kept talking to me and never showed up there. I guess she was casing at the time. At that point in time, I stopped over at his truck and I told him that he should watch out for her because I think she's planning on doing something. I don't think he remembered who I was because he said, what? He just looked at me and goes, what? And I was like, Devin, I said, she's unstable right now and I think that she's going to do something stupid. And he said, I'm not scared of that bitch. And I said, okay. And I left. And at that time I drove home.
Where was that at? Where did that conversation take place?
I don't remember the road. It was on the long straight road.
In Longmont?
Yeah. This is on his route. It was while he was to the road.
How long did that conversation take? How long were you there with him?
Not even 15 seconds. It was just, all I did was stop and say, hey. I said, you're pushing her over the edge. And I said, I think that you should leave her alone. And he goes, what? And I said, Devin, I said, she's unstable right now, and I think that you should leave her alone. And I said, I think she's going to hurt you. And he said, I'm not scared of that bitch. And I said, okay. I left.
Naturally, alongside looking at Richie, the police also looked at Devon Schreiner's mobile data, including a location scanner that she carried as part of her work as a mail carrier. And what interested them was not what it showed, but rather what it didn't show. Schreiner was supposed to be delivering mail 30 miles north in Loveland and should have had her scanner working and with her at the time. But when the murder occurred and the police pulled GPS data from her mail scanner, they discovered that the scanner was stalled in the same location for an hour at the time Jason Schaefer was killed. She claimed to be at AJ Ritchie's home eating lunch when her scanner was stalled. But, and this highlights the importance of getting your stories together ahead of time, Ritchie's story didn't match Schreiner's. And surveillance video showed that he was at Hooters eating lunch with friends at the time of the shooting. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Read me my rights?
Yeah, just to get it out of the way.
For what reason?
Well, it's your son's dad died today, and so please typically look at the butler or the ex or somebody who owes him a lot of money. So we want to at least ask you some questions about him, do our due diligence. I don't think he has a butler, so we got to rule the butler out. So we at least got to ask you some questions about how he died. Maybe you know something about it.
I was at work today.
Okay, perfect. You got a good excuse. Shouldn't be a big deal. Or more. And it should be mobile because you're working, but it's at your boyfriend's house. And why is your car in the crime scene area?
I don't.
We've got video of your car in the crime scene area.
I don't know why it would be on camera that my car was down there, but I don't.
Listen.
If I don't scan
packages,
then obviously I'm not doing that. But I did stop I did stop at his house for my lunch break, sort of.
Devin, I think you're a good person, but something's not right here. I think the gig is up. There's something weird going on here. Everything is pointing to you being involved in this shooting. People don't go around just shooting postal people.
I mean, I work for the post office, and I have before, and I have been.
And supposedly you're on video 2 weeks ago breaking into the Longmont post office. That's a separate.
Didn't break in. I work for the post office. I'm allowed to go in.
But who cares about that? That's just a stupid burglary.
Burglary?
Yeah. Let's talk about the homicide. Why are you? What's your involvement in this? Because I think there's a lot more than you're telling us. The video of the shooter looks kind of like you. It's from a distance, but it looks like your height and your build. It doesn't look like AJ's height and build. It doesn't look like Castaneda's height and build. It looks like your build with a black hoodie. So I'm asking you, did you have AJ do something? Do you think AJ was involved in something like this? Do you think
No.
Castaneda? Or if not, maybe it looks like it's you.
Castaneda, I don't.
Your other boyfriend?
I.
Castaneda?
Well, I know who that is. I just don't understand how he's.
I don't know, one of your boyfriends. One of your associates. Someone killed your ex. And we want to find out who it is. It seems like you're involved. Your caller is there. You left your scanner with GPS back at AJ's house. Your ex, who you said AJ would kill, is now dead.
I never said that.
Well, I don't care. I wasn't there. I'm not. That's what Rosa said, but I don't care. I didn't hear that. That's what Rosa's saying. It could have just been a off the cuff remark. We're gonna do a gunshot.
It
test.
could be her being like, "Hey."
We're gonna do a gunshot residue test on
What do you
you.
mean, "A"?
No, we're gonna do a gunshot residue test on you to see if you have any. You know, when you fire a gun, all this gunshot powder comes out and it covers you. It covers your face, your hair, your clothes, your hands. Have you been around any guns lately? Have you been shooting anything lately?
No.
So we do a gunshot residue test. It's going to come back negative.
It better.
On the lawyer, but I wasn't clear. Do you want to talk to him or do you want a lawyer? Whatever you decide. I don't have any more questions, but I don't want your life to be liable.
Sure, yeah. We weren't sure because you were kind of deciding what you wanted to do, but I'd imagine this is the husband of your child.
The father.
The father of your child. So we're just trying to get this wrapped up. We're trying to figure out what happened today, okay? Right. So one of the things we do is talk to everybody that's around the person, anybody that they may have had a relationship with, either current or in the past. Obviously, you have a relationship with Jason. You know, you guys have a child together, so you work for the post office. He worked at the post office. We came up here. We were notified by the police department about what happened, so we went out there and took a look at what happened. We'd like to sit down and talk with you, okay? Would you be comfortable with talking to me about just kind of your activities today? And if I get to a point or a part where you don't feel comfortable, just tell me I don't want to talk about that.
Well, I mean, I already explained that I was at work today. My route is in North Loveland.
Okay.
And...
Well, I guess I just came in, and I apologize, like, when you guys were already mid-conversation. I'd love to start off with, like, how long you've worked at the post office, that type of thing. How long, because you work up at the Loveland post office now, but you used to work at the Longmont post office, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'd like to talk to you about that if that's okay with you. And again, like I said, if you get to a point to where you just don't want to talk to me about it, that's fine. But I think, I mean, would it be accurate saying, because most of the time when I interview people that are related to, you know, somebody that was hurt, they want to help. They want to find out what happened.
Yes, of course.
Do you want to find out what happened?
Yes, of course I want to find out.
Well, I'm sure that you do.
That wasn't why I wasn't answering or wanting to talk anymore. The detective is saying that we're going to be doing all of these things that I don't understand. So I'm not.
Yeah, and I think he didn't understand like the scanner thing, because I walked in a little bit and I heard you talking about the scanner and you were trying to correct him about kind of how the scanner works. I thought, well, maybe if I come down there, you'd be maybe a little more comfortable talking to an inspector about what's going on. And I'll explain everything like he has. I've been working, as an inspector for almost 20 years. So I'm just here to figure out how we can help you, how we can resolve this situation, how we can help Jason. But I need your help to do that. The things we're going to do as part of this is we're going to have to pull phone records, okay? So we're going to take a look at it and we're going to say, okay, this is where you told me you were, and this is where your phone was. Because you had your phone all day, like you told me, because you were talking on it. You didn't lend your phone to anybody, I'm assuming. No? Okay. You had your phone all day. Mm-hmm. So we can really just go to the cell phone company with the court order. We have to get a warrant and say, where was her cell phone, every second of that day? And on this type of thing, we go to those extra links. So are we going to see that your cell phone was over there where this happened to Jason?
I'm not entirely sure where it happened, but no, I had it with me in Loveland.
Okay, you had it with you in Loveland. Okay. It never left your side.
No, it was with me in Loveland.
Okay. Could you have been accidentally gotten over into that area where this happened? Do you know where it happened?
In Loveland.
Okay. Well, this happened in Longmont. Was your phone ever in Longmont today?
No.
Okay, so when we pull your phone records, is it going to show that your phone was in Longmont?
No.
Is it going to show that it was in that area?
No, I don't know what area, but it hasn't been in Longmont.
Okay.
It's not rocket science, it really isn't. Anywho, back to our story. Although Richie couldn't be the shooter on account of being at Hooters, police discovered he was still involved. A search of his cell phone location data showed that his path matched that of Jason Schaefer in the hours before Jason Schaefer was shot. It seems that he was feeding his girlfriend up-to-date information on Jason's progress and whereabouts before going off for his lunch with friends. But surveillance footage confirmed that he had been following Jason for the whole of his route. Josh Burke, a detective with Longmont PD, said, "In watching that," referring to the footage, "it's almost scary. AJ was on top of Jason almost the entire mail route. It looked like AJ had been waiting for Jason's mail truck to leave the post office that morning, and then AJ followed him all around for 2 to 3 hours. Police found another important piece of evidence on AJ Ritchie's phone. According to Boulder County Prosecutor Alison Brand, she said there was this saved Snapchat photo that AJ Ritchie had screenshotted and saved to his phone. That showed an individual taking a selfie picture in a bathroom mirror, in a bathroom, wearing a very similar outfit that the shooter had worn on October the 13th, 2021. It won't surprise you to learn that that individual was Devon Schreiner. As police analysed both AJ Ritchie and Devon Schreiner's phone data, it became clear that they'd been plotting Jason Schaefer's slaying since finding out he was dating Schreiner's sister. Ritchie sent Schreiner a text about ending Rosa and Jason on July the 8th, 2021. Another text he sent to her read, "You could just kill them both." Detective Josh Burke said, "These messages had been sent months prior to the shooting. Well before Jason had filed for the additional parenting time." Cell phone data showed that Ritchie and Schreiner were on a call for nearly 3 hours the morning of the murder, with Burke saying, "We believe he was coordinating with Devon. He was sending information back to Devon about where Jason could be found on the mail route. AJ's the lookout for Devon." Eventually, AJ Ritchie confessed to the plan to kill. Burke said, "There was extensive thought that went into this murder. Devon's gonna plant her cell phone and her mail tracker up at AJ's house. And as soon as she knows that last location for Jason, she has a good idea where he's going to be when she gets down to Longmont from Loveland." On the 2nd of August 2023.
Mail carriers lined up for a procession today to honor a colleague who was murdered on the job. Tonight, we're learning more about the ex-girlfriend that is accused of killing him. Jason Schaefer shared a child with the woman arrested in this case. She was allegedly dressed in black with a mask hiding her face when she shot him multiple times while he was delivering the mail. Tori Mason is in Longmont tonight for us. And Tori, we've learned that this couple did have a very rocky history.
Yes, Karen, investigators believe this was an act of domestic violence. Public records indicate there was an ongoing child custody dispute, and now that child has essentially lost both parents.
You can still feel a lot of tension in the air here.
For some neighbors, the simple task of checking the mail will now come with a gruesome memory. In some yards, the investigation is ongoing. U.S. Postal Inspector Police were in the neighborhood Thursday afternoon.
There's been a search and rescue truck down there. I mean, it's still very visible that something horrible has happened here.
The arrest affidavit obtained by CBS 4 explained what happened leading up to Schaefer's murder. His ex-girlfriend, Devon Schreiner, was fired from the post office he works at just 2 weeks before. The two have a child together. Police say Schaefer was attempting to modify her parenting time.
Somebody doing something that brutal, you kind of do think that it's going to be domestic.
After the murder, surveillance video from the neighborhood shows someone running from the scene in a dark hoodie and blue mask. A similar hoodie and mask were allegedly found in Schreiner's car Wednesday night, the same car neighbors reported seeing earlier that day.
The whole neighborhood is in shock. It's very sad.
There's a growing memorial for Jason behind me here on the street where he was killed. Now, the city of Longmont says they're working with the family and USPS to have another memorial for Schaefer. Schreiner is expected to appear in court next week. We're live in Longmont. Tori Mason covering Colorado First.
Tori.
It has been 1 week since the deadly shooting of a postal carrier in Longmont. Now a second person has been arrested in Jason Schaefer's murder. Schaefer was killed while delivering mail in a neighborhood on the southwest side of town. Investigators believe a woman approached Schaefer and shot him several times. There's that person running from the scene. She was arrested and is Schaefer's former partner and mother of his child. CBS 4's Kelly Worthman joining us ahead of a vigil for Schaefer tonight. Kelly, you have new information on the second person now arrested.
Jim, Longmont police have arrested a man they say was complicit in the murder that happened here just last week. And according to police documents, they reveal that man followed Jason on the morning of his mail route. 34-year-old Andrew Ritchie was taken into custody last night on charges for complicity to commit first-degree murder. Police say he was in a relationship with Devin Schreiner, who's charged for shooting Jason, her ex-boyfriend, and child's father. In Andrew's 23-page arrest affidavit, he told police Devin had talked about killing Jason. Andrew admitted he followed Jason last Wednesday morning to see if Devin would show up. He told officers he even had a 15-second conversation with Jason, telling him he was pushing Devin over the line regarding child custody. Andrew says Jason told him he wasn't afraid of her. Not long after, Jason was allegedly shot several times by Devin as he was delivering mail. A moment of silence was held this afternoon outside the mailboxes where Jason died. One of his co-workers there told us she's not surprised Jason's killer may have had an accomplice.
It was a horribly thought out plan, and so I just felt that she couldn't have done it alone.
Now, a vigil for Jason is set to begin here in just a few minutes. You can see several people have already begun gathering, including members of Longmont PD and Longmont Fire. CBS 4's Alan Janae will continue our coverage of this developing story tonight at 10. Reporting live in Longmont, Kelly Worthman covering Colorado First.
Devin Schreiner was found guilty of her crime. The jury deliberated for approximately 8 hours before finding Devin Schreiner, who was 27 years old at this time, guilty of first-degree murder.
Good afternoon. The woman accused of killing her ex-boyfriend while he was delivering mail will spend the rest of her life in prison. Devin Schreiner's lawyers admitted she killed her ex in Longmont, but they said she was coerced.
The jury did not buy that defense, though, and they found her guilty of murder this afternoon. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow has been following the case.
Tom, as you suggested, the question was never whether Devin Schreiner killed Jason Schaefer a year and a half ago. Her lawyer fully admitted that in court. The question was, why? October 13th, 2021, Jason Schaefer, a mail carrier for the U.S. Postal Service, is gunned down while working in the middle of the day in a residential neighborhood in Longmont. Arrested Devin Schreiner, Schaefer's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his child. Prosecutors say Schreiner was angry that Schaefer had recently asked for additional custody of their child and also upset that Schaefer had started dating Schreiner's sister. But during the trial, Schreiner's lawyer described a much different motive, fully admitting that Schreiner shot and killed Schaefer, but adding that she was corrupted and coerced by her boyfriend at the time, A.J. Ritchie. According to the defense, quote, Ms. Schreiner is not a murderer, but she was the weapon. She was A.J. Ritchie's weapon. The jury clearly did not agree. After less than a full day of deliberations, they found Schreiner guilty of the top count of first-degree murder. Minutes later, Judge Patrick Butler sentenced her to the mandatory life in prison without the possibility of parole. A.J. Ritchie has also been charged with first-degree murder in the case. His trial is scheduled to begin in September. Kim and Tom.
All right. Thank you, Matt. That one's a while coming, this verdict.
Boulder District Judge Patrick Butler proceeded immediately to sentencing, handing down a term of life in prison without parole, in compliance with Colorado's mandatory sentence for murder in the first degree. District Attorney Michael Doherty credited the Postal Inspection Service within the case, saying the US postal inspectors and Longmont detectives brought their best efforts, and along with our prosecution team, ensured justice was done. On September the 29th, 2023, A.J. Ritchie, 36 at this time, was found guilty of first-degree murder after deliberation. Boulder County District Attorney Michael Doherty said, "With today's guilty verdict, the two people responsible for this premeditated and cold-blooded murder will be held fully responsible for killing Jason Schaefer while he was delivering mail. These two robbed Jason's family and U.S. Postal colleagues of a beloved son, father, and friend. Since the first hours after Jason's murder, I have been deeply grateful for the strong partnership between the Longmont Police Department, U.S. Postal Inspectors, and our team." Ruth Mendonca, inspector in charge of the Denver division of the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, said, "Postal inspectors from across the nation converged into Colorado to support the Longmont Police with this important investigation. Longmont Police personnel are skilled, experienced, and capable of resolving investigations of this nature. And the U.S. Postal Inspection Service considers the safety of USPS employees to be the most critical element of our mission, and has committed the full strength of our federal law enforcement resources to bring justice for Longmont letter carrier Jason Schaefer and his family. The arrest of the second suspect in Mr. Schaefer's homicide demonstrates our collective commitment to leaving no stone unturned in this investigation, and to pursue justice to the fullest extent of the law. We thank our partners at the Longmont Police Services Division, the Boulder County District Attorney's Office, and various other law enforcement partners for their collective efforts resulting in the swift identification of those responsible for this terrible homicide. We would also like to offer our sincere condolences to Mr. Schaefer's family and to the postal family at the Longmont Post Office.
It was a beautiful fall day in Colorado. Longmont letter carrier Jason Schaefer was delivering his route on October 13, 2021. But just after noon, the 33-year-old Schaefer who had worked for the Postal Service for 10 years, was gunned down on his delivery route. Schaefer was pronounced dead on scene. Longmont police immediately responded, while postal customers reported seeing a person wearing a dark-colored hoodie and possibly a blue mask, fleeing following the shooting. Postal inspectors from the Denver Division Headquarters, Colorado Springs, and Cheyenne, Wyoming, immediately responded and began the investigation with Longmont Police, Postal Service OIG agents, and the Boulder County District Attorney's Office. Postal inspectors from other field divisions converged on Colorado, swelling the ranks of investigators. Schaefer's ex-girlfriend, Devin Schreiner, with whom Schaefer had a child, was quickly developed as a suspect. During the initial investigation, postal inspectors acquired video footage from several homes near where the shooting occurred. With this video, postal inspectors were able to determine the escape path of the shooter. One video showed a person running from the incident, wearing a long-sleeved, dark-colored top with a possible hood. Another video showed a black Nissan SUV missing the passenger front hubcap, driving past and away from the crime scene. Postal inspectors learned Schreiner owned a 2017 black Nissan Rogue. They obtained an image of the vehicle without a passenger front hubcap that was captured months earlier. Schreiner was also a postal employee. Postal inspectors reviewed Schreiner's GPS data on the day of the shooting through her Postal Service scanner. Postal inspectors found there was an extended period of time where the scanner was stationary, very unusual for a carrier not to have walking and driving activity. It was also learned that Schreiner and Schaefer were in a custody suit over their son. Further adding to a motive was that Schaefer was dating another member of Schreiner's family. Schreiner was arrested and charged with murder of Jason Schaefer. But that's not the end of the story. She did not act alone. Schreiner's Postal Service scanner, immobile for hours, and her cell phone were at or near the residence of Andrew Ritchie. Ritchie, a federal corrections officer, was Schreiner's boyfriend at the time. Postal inspectors determined Schreiner and Ritchie plotted to kill Schaefer while he was delivering mail in southwest Longmont on October 13, 2021. Ritchie was arrested on October 20, 2021. Devin Schreiner went to trial on March 7, 2023, and was found guilty of murder in the first degree and immediately sentenced to life in prison without parole. The district attorney called Schreiner a cold-blooded murderer. He also praised postal inspectors and Longmont detectives for bringing their best efforts, ensuring that justice was done. Ritchie's trial started in September, and on September 25th, he was found guilty on first-degree murder charges and immediately sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. The effort of Case Inspector Justin Moll, along with the support of Postal Inspection Service analysts, technical specialists, and postal inspectors, working collaboratively with the rest of the task force, demonstrates our collective commitment to leaving no stone unturned in an investigation involving a member of our Postal Service family and to pursue justice to the fullest extent of the law.
In a victim impact statement read by prosecutors, Schaefer's mother called her son's murder a living nightmare. She said her family's lives had been destroyed forever, and that her grandson, 7 at the time of the trials, was living with relatives in Connecticut. On the day after the murder, the United States Postal Service of Colorado had a procession in Jason Schaefer's honor, with 47 postal trucks driving one by one on the same route that Jason Schaefer drove that Wednesday morning in October of 2021. Neighbors in the community dropped off flowers and posters near to where Jason had been murdered. A spokesperson with the city of Longmont said they were working with the Schaefer family and the Postal Service to set up a memorial. They said at the time that cards were greatly appreciated and could be sent to the Longmont Post Office. Jason Schaefer was a very caring man. Quoting from his obituary, Jason Leon Schaefer, 33, of Longmont, died on October the 13th, 2021 in Longmont. He was born on July the 1st, 1988 in Connecticut to Laurie and Ernest Schaefer. Jason grew up in Deep River, Connecticut, graduating high school in 2006. He began his postal career at the Deep River Post Office, transferring to Colorado in 2014, where he continued to work as a mail carrier for the United States Postal Service in Longmont, Colorado. Jason will be remembered as being smart, lovable, polite, and honest. He was a casual person who loved his family, sports, video games, Taco Bell, wings, mashed potatoes, and any time that he could spend with his son Chase. Jason is survived by his parents and his son Chase. This video is dedicated to this wonderful man who died far, far too young. I send love and condolences to his family, in particular his son Chase, who has already suffered so much. I can only hope that with love and support, he can come through this horrific loss. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. Please like, share and subscribe. You know the drill. But with that said, I'm Steve. This here is Samson, and we will see you when we see you.
Say that you're ready, but you won't like it. You say that